Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back once again to World of Tanks with the mighty Jingles, where once again we're keeping it mid-tier, and once again we're featuring a Cromwell. Because, honestly, this is probably one of the best tanks for its tier in the game. Except this is no ordinary Cromwell. This is the premium Cromwell B, which means it's just like the already amazing tier 6 non-premium Cromwell, except it's just that little bit better. Taking the Cromwell B out for a spin today on Malinovka is Cheating Badger. Yes, we do seem to be having a bit of a special on people with amusing names in my videos lately, and today is no exception. But what is it about the Cromwell B that makes it just that little bit better than the regular Cromwell? Because the days when a premium tank was better than a stock tank, but not quite as good as a fully upgraded tank, are of course long gone. Yes, that proud and noble tradition kind of fell by the wayside, I think, when the Type 59 first went on sale, and most of us are probably too young to remember that far back. So, what is it about the Cromwell B that makes it better than the already amazing Cromwell? Well, there are a couple of things, and it mostly comes down to the manoeuvrability. Yes, I know, hard though that may be to believe, the Cromwell B actually has better manoeuvrability than an already super agile tank like the Cromwell, and it mostly comes down to the terrain resistance and the hull traverse. Thanks to the superior terrain resistance, the Cromwell B manages to... Ooh, hang on a second. Cheating Badger, are you sure about this? Oh, no, it's fine. It's fine. Terrain resistance, you see. The Cromwell B's superior terrain resistance means it's able to grip the ground harder and therefore accelerate even faster than the already light tank comparable, dizzyingly fast acceleration of the regular Cromwell. The 75mm high velocity gun, despite looking slightly different and having a different name to the top gun on the Cromwell, is identical in performance. Well, not completely identical. It's identical in almost every way that matters. It's got the same damage, the same penetration, the same shell velocity. But Wargaming did toss a slight bone to all the people complaining that premium tanks should not always be better in every respect than their regular non-premium tech tree counterparts. The gun handling on turret rotation isn't quite as good as the regular Cromwell. But because the Cromwell's tier 6 and can't fit a vertical stabilizer anyway, its accuracy on turret rotation was terrible anyway, and not something that any sane Cromwell driver would ever rely on at anything other than point-blank range. Speaking of at point-blank range, I did mention that the Cromwell B has one other advantage over the regular Cromwell, and that was the hull traverse. The regular Cromwell has 36 degrees per second of hull traverse. The Cromwell B has 50. It's already a nightmare if you're in basically any tank and you get rushed by a Cromwell that manages to close to point-blank range, but it's even worse if that Cromwell is a Cromwell B, because it's going to run rings around you. I'm willing to bet that that flat Panzer over, and I'm saying flat Panzer, not flak Panzer. I'm aware it's a Jagdpanzer 4, but I call them flat Panzers because they're based on the hulls of Panzers and they're flat, and that one's dead. So I can call it what I like. It's not going to complain. Is now an appropriate time to point out that Cheating Badger's team are having an abysmal game and would be losing 6 kills to 2 if it wasn't for Cheating Badger? Yeah, I think now would be a good time to point that out. He's wisely letting the T20 go ahead and find some targets for him, like the Arty, since he was just spotted by the Flat Panzer. The other downsides of the Cromwell B, and the tank does have downsides, but they're not specific to the Cromwell B, they're downsides that are shared by the Cromwell as well, in that the armour is absolutely terrible. Oh, hang on, he doesn't look like he's going anywhere. I'm pretty sure that was a hit, although he did get spotted. Ooh, yeah. That's a lot of big guns pointing this way. Yeah, absolutely terrible armour. Yeah, if you're driving this tank and you get shot at and hit, you can pretty much count on taking damage, because the armour on the Cromwell and the Cromwell B is basically just there to stop the crew from being thrown out whenever the tank executes a sharp turn at 60 km per hour. Yeah, that T-43 is going to be a problem, and it's definitely going to have to be dealt with before he can advance any further. And I don't honestly think the T20 is in much of a position to help directly, because the T43 is in, well, he's dead now, but he was in low ground. You see, this is the thing about the Cromwell's gun, and this applies to the Cromwell B as well, because it has exactly the same gun as a fully upgraded Cromwell. On paper, it shouldn't really work. It does terrible damage, although it is rapid firing, which means you kind of have to stay exposed, shooting over and over and over in order to do any kind of appreciable. He's trying to get that tiger again, isn't he? There, he's got him! Oh, wow! Okay, that was impressive. Time to come to the rescue of the T20. Oh, that poor KV-2 is so incredibly screwed. I'll expand on what I was talking about regarding the Cromwell's gun in a moment, once he's taken care of the KV-2. There it is. So, yes, when you get these tanks that have guns that don't do a lot of damage and require on repeated firing in order to pile the damage up, that's fine. If you look at something like the AT-2, it's got almost exactly the same kind of gun. Terrible alpha damage, but rapid firing. But with the AT-2, it doesn't matter if anybody can see you shooting at them, because the AT-2 has stupid amounts of armour. The Cromwell very definitely doesn't. So you cannot just sit there shooting at a target if it knows you're there. You have to play this thing like a light tank, taking advantage of cover, terrain, scenery, bushes, any unfair advantage that you can leverage in order to get that gun firing and doing damage and letting that damage pile up when you're at range. Once you get close, however, all bets are off. Even though, because they're tier 6, neither the Cromwell nor the Cromwell B can fit that vertical stabiliser, so they're not quite as good at knife fighting as, say, the Comet. But being just not quite as good as the Comet is no bad thing, because the Comet is amazing. Captured King Tiger down there. This is a tier 7 battle, by the way. It's probably worth pointing out. Cheating Badger is not top tier. Well, King Tiger just took out the T20. See, this is a common problem, and you see this time and time again. There's now only 2 of them left against... Oh, okay, so the box tank down at the bottom end of the map did manage to get a kill, so 2 of them against 3. But Cheating Badger is up here at the top of the map, the T20 got killed in the middle of the map, and the box tank, the SU-100Y, is all the way down at the bottom of the map. So there's no mutually supporting fire going on. Having said that, though, the enemy team appear to be spread all over the map as well. And to be completely fair to Cheating Badger, when you're in a tank that has this kind of speed and manoeuvrability, you really don't want to be tying yourself to one location in the map, particularly not a predictable location in the map. And by that I mean where friendly tanks have been spotted, because the enemy team are all heading for that friendly tank, and he's just managed to claim another victim, but got taken out in the process. And that means that Cheating Badger is now alone against 2 enemies, but despite being spotted himself, he should be able to take care of that Black Prince before the Black Prince's turret could turn around, and that was actually pretty easy. See, this is the benefit of not being in a predictable location. Cheating Badger quickly checks his mission progress towards unlocking the T55A, while simultaneously relocating so as not to be where that surviving T-3485M is going to suspect he is. Fortunately, as far as that's concerned, he is in a Cromwell B. I just want to point out, he's going up a hill at 45 kilometers per hour here. That's only 5 kilometers per hour less than the top speed of a Mark 7 Centurion on level ground. Wow. Pokes the ridgeline, while in concealment behind the bush, trying to get eyes on that T-3485M, obviously. No sign of him. That's kind of worrying, because he managed to get up here quickly enough after last being spotted when he took care of the Black Prince that the T-3485M should have been spotted if he was crossing the field, heading to where Cheating Badger was last reported. But he's not, which probably means he hasn't taken the bait, and that's not good. You see, Cheating Badger has the speed and manoeuvrability advantage, but that only really works if he knows where the T-3485M is, and it's not that much of an advantage. Oh wait, he's in the cap circle. Okay. Well, that does change things, and it's also kind of disappointing, because I wouldn't have... Oh wait, he's not in the cap circle anymore, so he just drove through the cap circle. Well, that tallies with what I would have been expecting the T-3485M to do, because given the current situation, the relative health of the two machines, and the alpha damage and rate of fire of their respective guns. With all other things being equal, if it comes to a straight up gunfight between the two tanks, Cheating Badger's going to lose. Because while he does have a superior rate of fire over the T-34-85M's 85mm gun, he loses out in alpha damage, his armour is never going to stop a shot, and the T-34-85M's armour might, even though Cheating Badger has taken that into consideration and he's loaded the skill, which gives him 202mm of penetration, but he's also starting off the fight with less health than the T-34-85M. So if it was a fair fight and they both spotted each other at the same time and started shooting, he would lose. Because the enemy tank can kill him in 4 shots, which would take it 15 seconds. You get the first shot for free because the gun's already loaded. But despite having the higher rate of fire, because his shots do less damage and the enemy tank has more health, it would take him 7 shots. And even getting the first shot in for free, that would take him 20 seconds. So he cannot afford to get into a fair fight with that enemy tank. Cheating Badger appears to have come to the same conclusion that I have. The enemy tank is sitting at the back of the field watching the cap circle hidden in a bush, which is why he was going as low and wide as he could to try to get around behind him and spot him. Unfortunately, regardless of how good the plan is, no plan survives contact with the enemy. He got spotted. Fortunately, he was in low enough ground that he couldn't get shot at, but this is very, very bad because his one advantage was to use his superior mobility to get around behind the enemy tank and fight him on his terms. And now the T-34-85M is wise to his tricks and knows exactly which way to turn his gun. This is not the fight that Cheating Badger wanted. It is, however, the fight that he has, whether he likes it or not, so he's just going to have to suck it up and deal with it. And then, tragedy, spotted and hit. Well, that's it, he's lost this fight, there's no way he can... Wait a minute. 75 health. So, what was that 880 health remaining bullshit? Which is kind of suspicious in the first place, because now I come to think of it, a T-34-85M only has 810 health to begin with. Oh well, panic over. Cheating Badger was shitting his pants for nothing. I suspect what was actually happening there, and current World of Tanks players can confirm or deny this in the comments, but the T-34-85M, since it's a premium tank, there's no upgraded turret to give it extra hit points beyond the 810 that it comes with by default, but the driver of the tank was probably running the improved hardening equipment, which gives you an extra 10%. I then thought perhaps he did have 880 health the last time he was spotted, so that's why the game was reporting 880 health remaining on the enemy team. But then the thought occurred to me, if he'd never been spotted, how did he lose 805 health? So, at the end of the day, I can only conclude it's just World of Tanks doing World of Tanks things. But if any of you have a better explanation, do let me know in the comments, because I've got nothing better than that. It's the best I can come up with. In any case, it was quite fortunate, because even though Cheating Badger was right to be cautious at the end of that battle, it turned out he didn't need to be worried after all. Because it would have been a crying shame if, after scoring a top gun in a battle where he was not top tier, he'd somehow still managed to lose. But hey, he didn't, so it's all good. Take care, folks, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.